I was 35,000 feet over the Pacific Ocean when my phone lit up with security alerts from my Malibu beach house. At first, I dismissed them. Probably just the cleaning service doing their weekly maintenance, but then the notifications kept coming. Front door access unauthorized code entry. Master bedroom motion detected. Kitchen motion detected. Pool area accessed. My finger hovered over the alert as I debated whether to check the live feed. I was heading back from a crucial business meeting in Tokyo where I'd just closed a $500 million deal that would transform my company. The last thing I needed was a distraction, but something felt off. I opened the security app and nearly dropped my phone. There, in crisp 4K resolution, was my sister Amanda, directing what looked like a moving crew through my house. Two kids, my niece and nephew, were jumping on my custom-made Italian leather sofa, their shoes leaving marks on the $12,000 piece of furniture. "Sir, would you like another whiskey?" the flight attendant asked. I nodded, not taking my eyes off the screen. Amanda was now in my master bedroom, instructing workers to just put all his stuff in boxes. "He barely uses this place anyway." I turned up the volume just in time to hear my 9-year-old nephew ask, "Can I have Uncle James's gaming room?" "Of course, sweetie. Uncle James is too busy making money to ever use it." My hands clenched around the phone as I watched them dismantling my $30,000 gaming setup, a sanctuary I'd built after years of working 100-hour weeks to build my tech company from nothing. I switched cameras to see my mother directing another crew in the kitchen. "These fancy appliances are wasted on him. He doesn't even cook. Amanda's family will make better use of this place." The whiskey arrived and I downed it in one gulp. 10 years. 10 years of being the family ATM. Of hearing how my success had changed me. Of endless guilt trips about not spending enough time with them. And now this. I opened my contacts and called Marcus, my head of security. "Mr. Anderson." He answered on the first ring. "I assume you've seen the feeds. How did they get in?" "Your mother used her emergency access code, sir. The one you provided for medical emergencies only." Of course she had. I'd given her that code 3 years ago after Dad's heart attack, when they convinced me they needed emergency access just in case. "Marcus, I want you to do exactly what I say." Just then my sister's FaceTime call came through. I took a deep breath and accepted. "James, you finally picked up." Amanda's face filled the screen, her designer sunglasses perched on her head, probably purchased with the small loan she'd guilted me into giving her last month. "Amanda," I said calmly, "why are you in my house?" "Oh, don't be dramatic. Mom said it was fine. Listen, we had to move out of our rental. You know how crazy the market is. And the kids need stability. Your beach house is empty most of the time anyway. And family helps family, right?" Behind her I could see my nephew drawing on my walls with markers. "Those walls are hand-painted imported Italian plaster," I said quietly. "They're just walls, James. God, success has made you so materialistic. Remember when we used to share everything as kids?" Yes, I remembered. I remembered sharing my college savings with her when she needed a car. I remembered sharing my first apartment when she got kicked out of hers. I remembered sharing my business contacts when her husband wanted to start a company he ran into the ground while paying himself an excessive salary. "The kids love it here already," Amanda continued, panning the phone to show my niece and nephew running through the house. "They've picked their rooms and we're painting them tomorrow. Pink for Sophie, blue for Dylan." I watched as Dylan threw a ball that knocked over a vase, a piece from a Japanese artist who'd become a close friend during my time building my company's Tokyo office. "We need to talk about this properly," I said, maintaining my composure. "I'll be landing in 4 hours." "Perfect, we're having a family dinner to celebrate the move. Mom's cooking in your kitchen right now. She says you have amazing pots but they've never been used." Those amazing pots were a hand-picked collection from my travels, each with a story behind it. The copper pan from a small shop in Paris. The handmade wok from a street market in Shanghai. The cast iron skillet from a tiny town in Italy. "Amanda, I need you to listen carefully." I started but she cut me off. "Oh, got to go. The painters are here to discuss colors for the living room. The beige is so boring. We're thinking a bright yellow. Something happy. See you at dinner." The call ended and I sat there staring at the blank screen. 10 years of therapy had taught me to control my anger, to respond rather than react. But as I watched my mother rearranging my kitchen on the security feed, something inside me snapped. I opened my laptop and began typing emails, first to my lawyer, then to my security company, finally to the Malibu Police Department. The pieces were set, now I just had to wait 4 more hours. The rest of the flight passed in a blur of security feeds. I watched as my sister's entire life was moved into my house. Boxes, furniture, even their golden retriever, who was now happily shedding on my custom rugs. By the time we began our descent into LAX, my mother had invited the entire extended family for dinner. Aunt Susan was critiquing my art collection. Uncle Pete was asking if he could borrow my wine collection for his son's wedding. Cousin Michael was examining my car collection in the garage, loudly wondering if I'd notice if one went missing for a few days. I smiled, knowing what was coming. My driver met me at the airport, a folder of documents ready in his hand. "Everything's prepared, sir," he said, opening the car door. The drive to Malibu was surprisingly peaceful. I used the time to make one final call. "Miss Rodriguez, yes, the property is available immediately. Full staff, fully furnished, beachfront. Yes, that's right. $15,000 per night. 3-night minimum. Your clients can move in tomorrow. I'll have my team prepare it tonight." I ended the call as we pulled up to my gate. The security guard, a new one I'd hired 2 hours ago, nodded as we passed. The old ones had been persuaded by my mother to let the moving trucks in. Music and laughter spilled out from my house. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see my family gathered around my dining table, using my china, drinking my wine, celebrating their successful invasion of my space. I checked my watch. Right on schedule. The police cars pulled up silently behind my car, lights off. Marcus appeared from the shadows, accompanied by a team of security personnel. My lawyer's Tesla purred to a stop on the street. "Ready, sir?" Marcus asked. I straightened my tie, a habit from countless business negotiations. "Yes, execute the plan." The next few minutes were precisely choreographed chaos. The new security codes activated, automatically locking every door and window. The smart home system shut down, plunging the house into darkness except for the emergency lights. Through the windows, I watched my family's confusion turn to panic. Amanda was the first to notice me standing in the garden, illuminated by the landscape lighting. She rushed to the door, fumbling with the keypad. "James, the doors won't open." "And what happened to the lights?" "The codes have been changed," I said, my voice carrying through the outdoor speakers. "And the power is now operating on restricted emergency protocols." "Very funny," my mother called out. "Let us in right now." "Actually," I said, nodding to the police officers now flanking me, "you're the ones who need to let me in. You're currently trespassing in my private residence." "Trespassing?" Amanda scoffed. "We're family. Mom gave us permission." "Mrs. Anderson," my lawyer stepped forward, documents in hand. "Your emergency access code was provided solely for medical emergencies, as clearly stated in the legal agreement you signed. Using it to facilitate an unauthorized move-in constitutes breaking and entering." The color drained from my mother's face. "James, you wouldn't." "Officers," I said calmly. "These individuals entered my property without authorization, and have refused to leave. They've caused extensive damage to valuable artwork and furniture. I'd like to press charges." The next hour was a symphony of chaos. My family alternated between threats, guilt trips, and desperate negotiations as the police supervised their exit from my house. Amanda's husband showed up, red-faced and belligerent, only to be quietly informed that his recent business loan, the one I'd secretly guaranteed, was now being called in for immediate repayment. My niece and nephew cried, as their hastily packed boxes were loaded back into the moving trucks. My mother tried to take just a few groceries she'd bought, only to learn that anything purchased with the emergency credit card I'd given her was legally my property. "You've changed," she spat as she was escorted to her car. "Money has changed you." "No," I replied, watching as Marcus's team began documenting the damage to my house. "I finally stopped letting you take advantage of my success." "Where are we supposed to go?" Amanda sobbed, clutching her designer handbag. Another loan from me. I handed her a business card. This is an excellent real estate agent. I'm sure you can find something nice, with all the money you've saved living rent-free in my various properties over the years. But we don't have any savings, she whispered. That sounds like poor financial planning on your part. I turned to the security team. Please ensure everyone leaves the premises. As my family was escorted out, I walked through my house, surveying the damage. Scratched floors, marked walls, broken artifacts, each representing a memory or relationship I'd built during my journey to success. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. You'll regret this. Family is everything. I typed back, yes, family is everything. That's why I've hired an excellent therapist who specializes in family dynamics and boundary setting. Your first appointment is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Attendance is mandatory. If you ever want access to any of my properties again. Then I turned off my phone, poured myself a whiskey from my thankfully untouched bar, and sat in my gaming room, now partially dismantled but salvageable. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Sir, the security updates are complete. New cameras, new locks, new staff, and, your sister's husband tried to leave with one of your watches. We recovered it. I nodded, unsurprised. Have the house cleaned and restored tonight. The rental clients arrive tomorrow. Sir, your family might come back. I smiled, taking a sip of whiskey. They won't, because as of an hour ago, this house officially belongs to my holding company. Any attempts to enter will be corporate trespassing, a felony. Sometimes the best boundaries are built with steel and concrete. As the cleaning crew began their work, I opened my laptop to check on my Tokyo deal. The notification pinged $500 million transferred successfully. I'd built this life from nothing, turning a small tech startup into a global empire. My family had called it luck, had tried to claim it as a family achievement. But tonight, watching the security footage of them being escorted out, I realized something. Sometimes the hardest part of success isn't achieving it. It's protecting it from the people who feel entitled to it. I picked up my phone and turned it back on. Hundreds of messages from family members poured in, ranging from angry to pleading. I deleted them all except one, the confirmation from the therapist that my family's first session was scheduled. Tomorrow they would begin learning about boundaries, and I would begin learning how to be successful without feeling guilty about it. The house slowly came back to life around me. Lights brightening, systems rebooting, order being restored. Outside, the ocean waves crashed against the beach, a rhythm unchanged by the drama that had unfolded. I walked to my bedroom, now cleared of my sister's attempted takeover, and stood at the window. In the distance I could see the lights of Los Angeles, a city that had taught me the hardest lesson of all: success without boundaries isn't success at all. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Marcus, security system fully restored, new protocols in place, property secure. I replied with 2 words, lesson learned. Then I turned off my phone, grabbed my laptop, and headed to my home office. I had a company to run, deals to close, and a life to live, one that I'd built, one that I'd protect, and one that would no longer be hijacked by family obligation. The night settled around me. As I worked, the sound of the cleaning crew slowly fading as they restored my house to its original state. Tomorrow the rental clients would arrive, the house would serve its intended purpose, and my family would begin their journey of learning about boundaries. But tonight, in the quiet of my reclaimed space, I finally understood what true success meant. Not just building something valuable, but having the strength to protect it, even from the people you love. The morning after the eviction incident, as my lawyers were now calling it, I sat in my downtown office reviewing the damage reports from my beach house. The total came to just over $47,000, not including the emotional value of several irreplaceable items. My intercom buzzed. Sir, your sister is in the lobby. She's quite insistent. I glanced at the security feed. Amanda was standing at the reception desk of Anderson Technologies headquarters, still wearing her designer clothes, but notably missing her usual air of entitlement. Her eyes were red, and her hair, usually perfectly styled, was hastily pulled back. Send her to conference room B, I replied, and have Marcus meet me there. I gathered my files and headed to the conference room, purposely taking an extra 5 minutes to let her wait. When I entered, Amanda jumped up from her seat. James, you have to stop this madness. The bank called this morning. They're foreclosing on our house. I sat down calmly, Marcus taking his position by the door. You mean they're foreclosing on the house I've been secretly paying the mortgage on for the past 3 years? Her face paled. What? I opened one of my files and slid some papers across the table. After Thomas's failed business venture, the one that cost me $2 million in guaranteed loans, you couldn't qualify for a mortgage. So I created a shell company to buy the house and let you rent it for a fraction of its actual cost. But we've been paying the mortgage to the bank. No, you've been paying rent to my holding company, which has been covering the actual mortgage. A mortgage that's now being called due because Thomas attempted to use the house as collateral for another business loan last week. Amanda slumped in her chair. He didn't tell me about that. Just like he didn't tell you about the credit cards he maxed out in your name. Or the Ponzi scheme he tried to start using my company's reputation. Tears started flowing down her cheeks. How do you know all this? I'm a tech CEO, Amanda. Information is my business. I pulled out another file. This contains every financial transaction you and Thomas have made in the last 5 years. Every loan, every credit card, every failed business attempt, all ultimately backed by my money or my reputation. Why didn't you say anything? Because every time I tried to have a serious conversation about money, you accused me of being materialistic. Every time I suggested Thomas get professional business training, Mom said I was being elitist. Every time I set a boundary, the entire family called me selfish. My phone buzzed, a reminder for the mandatory therapy session in an hour. The therapist is expecting you at 10 a.m., I said, standing up. Dr. Harrison specializes in family wealth dynamics and financial codependency. I'm not going to therapy. Amanda stood up, her voice rising. You can't force us to. Actually, I can. You see, while you were busy moving into my beach house yesterday, my lawyers were busy too. Every loan, every property, every financial agreement with any family member has been consolidated under one contract. Compliance with family therapy is now a binding condition of any continued financial support. That's manipulation. No, that was yesterday, when you tried to steal my house. This is a boundary. Amanda's phone buzzed, probably Thomas wondering why the bank was calling. She glanced at it, then back at me. James, please, we have nowhere to go. I pulled out one final document. This is a lease agreement for a 3-bedroom apartment in Santa Monica. Reasonable rent, good school district, no ocean view. The catch? You and Thomas both have to get jobs. Real jobs, not entrepreneurial ventures, and attend therapy twice a week. And if we refuse, then you'll discover exactly how many aspects of your current lifestyle actually belong to me. The door opened and my assistant entered. Sir, your mother has arrived. She's waiting in the main lobby with your father. Perfect timing. I nodded to Marcus, who left to escort them to the conference room. Amanda's phone was now buzzing continuously. That would be Thomas discovering that his access to the family investment fund has been frozen. I said, checking my watch. He's probably also learning that his country club membership, which I paid for, has been suspended. The door opened again, and my parents walked in. Mom looked like she'd been crying. Dad just looked tired. Sit down, I said, gesturing to the chairs. We have exactly 43 minutes until your first therapy session. James Andrew Anderson. My mother started using my full name, like I was still 10 years old. You cannot treat your family this way. We raised you better than this. Did you? I opened my laptop and turned it to face them. On the screen was a spreadsheet, every financial request, loan and favor they'd asked of me over the past decade. The total at the bottom was just over $7 million. You raised me to believe family helps family, I continued. But somewhere along the way, that turned into James helps everyone while we take advantage of him. We never took advantage. Mom protested. Really, let's review yesterday. You used an emergency access code to break into my house. You let Amanda move in without my permission. You were planning to renovate without my consent. And you invited the entire family to dinner in my home while I was out of the country. We were going to tell you. Amanda started. When? After you'd painted the walls. After the kids had settled in. After you'd established squatters' rights. My father, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke. We thought, because you were successful, you owed it to the family to share. I don't owe anyone anything, I said quietly. Every dollar in my accounts, every property in my portfolio, every success in my company, I earned those, not the family, me. My phone buzzed again. Another reminder for therapy. Here's how this is going to work, I said, pulling out 3 folders. Each of you has a customized contract. Mom and Dad, yours includes a reasonable monthly allowance and continued residence in your home, which yes, I actually own. Amanda, yours includes the apartment lease and a structured debt repayment plan. All of them require therapy attendance and financial management classes. And if we refuse, Mom asked, her voice shaking, then you'll need to explain to your country club friends why you can no longer afford membership. You'll need to tell your bridge club why you had to move out of your house. And Amanda, you'll need to explain to the kids why they're changing schools. The room fell silent, except for the gentle hum of the air conditioning. You've become cruel, Mom whispered. No, I've become clear. There's a difference. I stood up, straightening my tie. Cars are waiting downstairs to take you to Dr. Harrison's office. I've arranged for the kids to be picked up from school and brought to the session. What about Thomas? Amanda asked. Thomas has his own separate contract. It includes mandatory addiction counseling. Addiction, he doesn't have. The gambling, the cocaine, the private poker games, he's been funding with credit cards in your name. I slid another file across the table. Like I said, information is my business. Amanda's face crumpled as she opened the file. Mom started to reach for her, but I held up my hand. Save it for therapy. You have 20 minutes to get there. As they filed out of the conference room, my father paused at the door. Son, I'm sorry. We should have seen what we were doing. It was the first genuine thing any of them had said all morning. I know, Dad. That's why I'm doing this. Now go to therapy. After they left, I stood at my office window, looking out over the city I'd helped build with my technology. My phone buzzed with a text from Dr. Harrison. Family arrived. Beginning initial session. We'll update you after. I texted back a simple thank you, and turned to my desk. There was work to be done, deals to close, and a company to run. The family drama would have to wait. But as I sat down to review the Tokyo contracts, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: peace. Not because I'd won, but because for the first time, I'd chosen myself over family obligation. My intercom buzzed again. Sir, the contractors have finished restoring the beach house. The rental clients are very pleased. Good. And the security upgrades, complete. Biometric access only. No override codes. I smiled. Sometimes the strongest boundaries are the ones you can't see. My phone buzzed one last time. An email from Dr. Harrison. First session complete. Your family has significant work to do, but they've agreed to the process. Your mother cried, your sister raged, and your father asked for individual sessions. It's a start. P.S. As Thomas arrived late, smelling of alcohol. He's been referred to our residential treatment program. Amanda signed the papers. I closed my laptop and leaned back in my chair. Phase 1 of the family reconstruction project was complete. Now came the hard part, maintaining these boundaries while they learned to build their own. But for now, I had a company to run, and a life to live, one that was finally truly mine. 3 months after the beach house incident, I sat in Dr. Harrison's office for my monthly update on the family's progress. The leather chair creaked as I shifted, reviewing the reports in front of me. Your sister's making remarkable progress, Dr. Harrison said, adjusting her glasses. Since Thomas entered rehab, she started working as a marketing coordinator. Entry level, but she hasn't complained about the salary. And the kids? adapting well to their new school. The structure seems to help, especially with their father's absence. Though there was an incident last week, I looked up. What kind of incident? Your mother tried to buy them new iPads, breaking the no unauthorized gifts clause in your agreement. Amanda actually stopped her. Dr. Harrison smiled. She cited the financial responsibility classes. Progress indeed. I made a note in my phone. And Thomas? 60 days sober. The gambling addiction therapy is going well, though we discovered some additional debts. I nodded. My security team had already flagged the offshore accounts. Send me the details. I'll have my financial team handle it. James, Dr. Harrison leaned forward. There's something else we need to discuss. Your father's individual sessions have revealed some concerning information. My stomach tightened. About? The family company. The one you thought failed when you were in college. The real reason for its collapse wasn't market conditions. I felt a familiar coldness creep in. The same feeling I'd had when I discovered Thomas's addiction. Tell me. Your father signed it over to cover gambling debts. His own, not Thomas's. It seems your brother-in-law learned his habits from a master. The revelation hit like a physical blow. That company, Anderson and Sons Manufacturing, had been my grandfather's legacy. Its failure had driven me to start my tech company, determined to rebuild the family name.
Else.
There's more. Dr. Harrison continued. Your mother knew. She's been covering for him for 30 years. I stood up, walking to the window. Below, Los Angeles traffic crawled along Wilshire Boulevard, oblivious to how my world was shifting. The monthly allowance I provide them has been largely going to pay off old markers and loan sharks. Your father's been clean for 5 years, but the debts remain. My phone buzzed. A text from Amanda. Need to talk. Family emergency. Meet for coffee. Speaking of your sister, Dr. Harrison said, noting my expression, she discovered this information yesterday. She's handling it remarkably well. I typed a quick reply to Amanda. Blue Jam Cafe. 30 minutes. Thank you, doctor. Send me the complete report. The drive to the cafe gave me time to process. 30 years of lies. Every guilt trip about family loyalty. Every lecture about responsibility. All while they'd hidden this secret. Amanda was already waiting, looking different than she had 3 months ago. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by simple business casual. Her wedding ring was missing. You heard about Dad? She asked as I sat down. Just now, Dr. Harrison. Amanda stirred her coffee, her hands steady. I found the old papers in Mom's house while helping her organize. Loan documents dating back to the 90s. God, James. They let you think it was your responsibility to restore the family name. All while knowing that there was nothing to restore. I finished her sentence. Just debts and lies. Thomas knew. That's why he felt entitled to everything. He said if Dad could gamble away a company and still get bailed out by his son, why couldn't he? The waiter approached, but one look at our faces and he backed away. I filed for divorce yesterday. Amanda said quietly. Use the lawyer you recommended. Good. The trust fund I set up for the kids? Safe. Joint custody. But Thomas can only see them with supervision until he completes rehab. She took a shaky breath. I got a raise at work. Assistant marketing director now. You earned it. Actually earned it. No family connections used. She managed a small smile. It feels different, better. My phone buzzed again. Mom calling. I declined it. They want to come clean to the whole family. Amanda continued. Sunday dinner. Everyone will be there. Everyone except us. I said. Amanda nodded. I told them we're not available for the performance. They can mail us the confession. How did they take that? Mom cried. Dad actually understood. First time I've seen him take responsibility for anything. The waiter finally braved returning. We ordered coffee. Strong coffee. There's something else, Amanda said after he left. The country club membership you suspended. Turns out Dad had been running a small gambling operation there.
Else.
Nothing illegal, just private games. But that's where my beach house was supposed to end up. I finished. A new venue for his old habits. Mom claims she didn't know about that part. Dr. Harrison thinks she's telling the truth. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and made a few quick transfers. What are you doing? Amanda asked. Paying off Dad's debts. All of them. Not for him. For Grandpa. The Anderson name might be tainted, but it won't be in debt. James. And I'm selling Mom and Dad's house. They can move into one of my smaller properties. No more country club access. No more social circles to enable them. Amanda was quiet for a moment. They won't like it. They'll like bankruptcy less. Can I help? With the debt payment, I mean. My salary's not much, but I looked at my sister. Really looked at her. 3 months ago, she would have demanded I fix everything. Now she was offering to help. Keep your money, I said. Focus on the kids' college funds. I've got this one. My phone buzzed again. A message from Marcus. Sir, your father is in the lobby of Anderson Technologies. Looks like the Sunday confession might come early. I said, showing Amanda the message. Want backup? No. Go back to work. Earn that next raise. We stood up, and Amanda did something she hadn't done in years. She hugged me without asking for anything. We were wrong about you, she said softly. Success didn't change you. It revealed you. I watched her leave, then headed to my office. Dad was waiting in the same conference room where I'd confronted them 3 months ago. He looked older, smaller. Son. He started as I entered. Save it. I cut him off. I know everything. The gambling, the company, the lies. I came to explain. No. You came because you found out I know. There's a difference. I sat down, opened my laptop. I've paid your debts, all of them. The house will be sold next week. You and Mom will move into the condo in Sherman Oaks. James. Please. You don't get to James please me anymore. Not after 30 years of lies. I turned the laptop to face him. Sign these papers. They transfer all your remaining assets to a trust I control. You'll receive a monthly allowance. Enough to live comfortably. Not enough to gamble. Your mother will either sign as well, or you can both find somewhere else to live. Your choice. He picked up the pen with trembling hands. We never meant to hurt you. No. You just meant to use me. Fix your mistakes. Fund your lifestyle. Maintain your image. I watched him sign. The Sunday dinner is canceled. Send a group email instead. Copy me so I know it's done. And after that, you focus on therapy, on actually being honest for the first time in 3 decades, on rebuilding relationships based on truth instead of manipulation. He stood up, looking lost. Are we still family? Biology says yes. Trust says no. The rest, that's up to you to earn back. After he left, I sat alone in the conference room, thinking about legacy, not the false one I'd tried to restore, but the real one I was building. My phone buzzed one last time. Dr. Harrison, your father came straight here after seeing you. He's ready to do the work. Really ready this time. I typed back. Good. Because the work is all he has left. Then I turned back to my laptop, to my company, to the empire I'd built on hard work instead of lies. The Anderson name might be tainted by the past, but its future, my future, was clear and clean. And this time no family secrets would change that. 6 months after the revelation of my father's gambling past, I stood in my newly restored beach house, watching the sunset through windows that no longer held fingerprint smudges from my niece and nephew. The house had become a successful luxury rental property, booked solid by celebrities and tech executives, who appreciated its privacy and security measures. My phone buzzed, a message from Amanda. Kids' report cards came in, all A's and B's. No help from Mom's checkbook this time. I smiled, remembering how our mother used to donate to their private school whenever grades slipped. The kids were thriving now in public school, earning their achievements rather than having them purchased. Another message followed. Dad completed his first Gamblers Anonymous speaking engagement, actually admitted everything. Mom even stayed quiet. That was progress. My mother's need to manage the family's image had been almost as destructive as my father's gambling. The Sherman Oaks condo life had been a difficult adjustment for them. But Dr. Harrison said the downsizing was crucial for their recovery. My security chief, Marcus, appeared at the door. Sir, the family's arriving for the meeting. Ah, yes, the quarterly family financial review, my new requirement for any continued support. I straightened my tie and headed to the dining room, now converted into a conference space. They arrived one by one. Amanda first, dressed in her business attire, fresh from her marketing director job. My parents next, their designer clothes replaced by department store brands, but looking healthier than they had in years. Thomas came last, 6 months sober, wearing the uniform from his new job as a car salesman. Before we begin, I said as they took their seats, let's review the past quarter's progress. I opened my laptop, displaying their financial reports on the room's large screen. Amanda has maintained her budget, with 15% of her salary going to the children's college funds. Her credit score has improved by 85 points. I nodded to my sister. Well done. She smiled, proud but not smug. The old Amanda would have demanded praise. This one had earned it. Mom and Dad have stayed within their monthly allowance. All mandatory therapy sessions attended. No unauthorized expenditures. I turned to them. The Trust's quarterly review indicates you're ready for a small increase in your entertainment budget. My mother's eyes lit up, but my father placed a hand on hers. We'd prefer that increase go to our therapy copays instead. We're adding a monthly couples session. I made the adjustment in their file, noting how my mother didn't protest. Progress indeed, Thomas. I turned to my brother-in-law. 6 months sober, regular attendance at GA meetings. Your probationary period at the dealership is complete. Top salesman last month, he said quietly. Commission only, no creative financing. Your supervised visitation with the kids has been approved for expansion. I continued. Pending Amanda's agreement, of course. Amanda nodded. Weekend days. No overnights yet. The old Thomas would have argued. This one just nodded gratefully. Now, I said, pulling up a new document. Let's discuss the family business. Everyone tensed. The ghost of Anderson and Sons Manufacturing still haunted us. I've acquired the old factory property, I announced. The site will be redeveloped as a technology innovation center. The Anderson name will stand for something new. Son, my father started. You don't have to. I'm not doing it for you. I cut him off. I'm doing it for Grandpa, and for myself. The building will house a gambling addiction recovery center in the West Wing. Fully funded, free treatment for those who can't afford it. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. My father's eyes filled with tears. Additionally, I continued, the East Wing will include a financial literacy center. Amanda will run it, assuming she accepts the position. My sister's head snapped up. What? Your marketing experience, combined with your personal journey from financial dependence to independence, makes you uniquely qualified. Salary comparable to your current position, plus performance bonuses.
College.
Your choice. Amanda took a moment, considering. The old her would have jumped at any offer from me. This one thought it through. I'll need to see the business plan, she said finally. And I want to earn any bonuses. No family favors. Agreed. I turned to Thomas. The center will need a fleet of courtesy vehicles for clients. The dealership you work for is welcome to bid on the contract. Fairly, he nodded, understanding the opportunity and its limitations. As for you two, I addressed my parents. The center will need volunteer speakers, people who can share their experiences, their recoveries, their truths, only if you're ready. My father sat straighter. We're ready. Good. Because there's one more thing. I pulled up a final document. The Family Trust's annual review is next month. Your compliance with therapy and financial responsibility will determine if you're ready for more control over your assets. And if we're not ready, my mother asked, then we continue as we are. This isn't punishment anymore. It's protection. For you and for the family legacy we're rebuilding. The room fell quiet, broken only by the sound of waves outside. Finally, Amanda spoke. The kids asked about coming here again. Not to live, just to visit. They miss their uncle. I considered this. The last 6 months had been about establishing boundaries. But boundaries could have doors. Sunday afternoons, I decided. Supervised at first. They'll have to follow house rules. They've learned about respecting property. Amanda assured me. No more marker art on Italian plaster. A small laugh rippled through the room. The first genuine moment of family humor in months. One last item, I said, pulling out 5 envelopes. Dr. Harrison suggested this. We're each to write a letter to ourselves from 6 months ago. Share what we've learned, what we've lost, what we've gained. We'll read them at next quarter's meeting. I handed out the envelopes, watching as each family member held theirs thoughtfully. Meeting adjourned, I announced. Amanda, stay a moment to discuss the center's plan.
But
Everyone else, your cars are waiting. As they filed out, my father paused. Son, the center, using our greatest shame to help others. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You've got a lot of speaking engagements ahead of you. He smiled slightly, looking forward to it actually. Turns out the truth is easier to tell than lies. Just took me 30 years to learn that. After everyone left, I returned to my window view. The sun had set, but the horizon glowed with remaining light. Somewhere out there, my grandfather's old factory stood empty, waiting for its new purpose. My phone buzzed one last time. Dr. Harrison, heard about the center, turning wounds into wisdom. Well done. I typed back. Not done yet. Just starting properly this time. Then I turned to my desk, where the business plans for the Anderson Innovation Center waited. The old Anderson name had been built on lies and gambling debts. The new one would be built on truth and recovery. This time, the foundation was solid. This time, the family wasn't taking. They were contributing. This time, we were building something real. And this time, every member of the family had earned their place at the table. End of story.